Hey, I'm Angie, and this is New Path Tarot. So I do pick a card style readings on here, and I'm going to let you guys choose from 3 piles today to see what messages are best for you at this time of hearing it. These are timeless readings, so even though you might hear a message today, it's possible that in the future you might be drawn to listen, and it might mean something totally different. You can literally hear the same reading more than one time, and it be relevant for different times in your life. So, just wanted to give that little disclaimer before I let you guys choose your piles. I'd like you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. I'm going to have you select from 3 different numbers. So if one of the numbers, or maybe more than one of them, feels really strongly pulled to you, then it's going to be your pile or piles. If none of them really feel strong, then maybe this isn't a reading that you need to hear at this time. Maybe save it for a later time. Okay, so close your eyes, deep breath. First one is number 40. Pile 2, number 49. Pile 3, 31. Again, the numbers are 40, 49, 31. Okay, so I'll have the timestamps in the description box and in the comments, so you can go ahead and skip to your pile if you picked 2 or 3. If you picked pile 1, we'll get started now. So, you guys got the card Co-Create, and it came out in the reversed position. So anytime a card comes out reversed, we have to wonder, does it mean that it's a blocked energy? Does it mean that it's literally the opposite meaning? And because I'm still learning this deck, I went to the guidebook to look at it. Now, if it were Co-Create upright, that's generally an energy of being in a co-creation mode. So a lot of creativity flowing, a lot of inspired kind of, feelings and energies with the card meaning and messages. When it's reversed, though, it's implying that you're not in that mode, and the reason why is because you're relying too much on yourself and your own reserves, and you're not connected in with source as your fuel of inspiration. So if you're working on something creative and you're sitting here going, oh, I really need to come up with this. Oh, I really need to figure this out. Oh, me. That's when it's time for you to say, I need divine inspiration to hit, so that I'm not sitting here trying to figure this out for my own. It's a higher power working through me. So that's the first card, but to supplement it, we have Bobcat Spirit. Life is a mystery. So when this card comes up, this is usually somebody who is looking for answers that there are no logical answers for. They're usually like thinking the big mysteries of life and wanting to know why this, and what's the reason for that, and how does that work, and that kind of thing. But when you get this card, the message is that that's not the point, is to have the answers. The point is that there are just some things that you're going to have to chalk up to being a mystery, that you're not going to have the answers for. So the combination of the 2 of these tells me you might wonder things about, where does this inspiration come from? What is it that fuels it? What is the source of this? And there's no definite logical answer for that. The other way it might present is literally the other way around, which is the life is a mystery coming first, which is I am waiting for some kind of divine inspiration to hit, and it's where is it? What are the answers, so that I can be it's not wanting to make a move because you don't have the answers to the mysteries that are in your mind right now. And then we add to it your third card. These came out together, and this is Bat Spirit. And Bat Spirit to me looks like the Hangman card, because it actually came out for you guys reversed, which would look upright, but because bats hang upside down, when it's upright, it's actually reversed. So because it came out in its reversed position, that tells you that the message, again, is not the same as it would be if it were upright. And when it is upright, it says a rebirth is assured. So when it's upside down, that means what? It could be a lot of things, but I feel like in your instance, you're in a position right now where, because you don't have the answers to the questions that you seek, you're going to stay where you're at unless you evolve yourself to allow yourself to not need those answers to proceed. Whatever it is that you're stuck with or blocked, or whatever it is where you're at right now, you're going to have to push through it despite any kind of seeming resistance from either internal or external or higher, whatever it is that is keeping you feeling like you're not able to proceed forward. The Bat Spirit card is saying a rebirth is not assured, assuming you stay reversed. In fact, I know for sure that the author even was thinking that this is like the Hangman card, because she put in there as a change of perspective. One of the things it can talk about is you holding on to old ways of thinking or old ways of viewing a story from the past, old ways of thinking about people. Like when you think of somebody and you think of how they are, you might have an old version of them in your head that you're basing your opinion on. The energy that you are having with someone might be old energy. This card kind of feels like you might need to cut cords with people or situations that's the case for, where you're tapped into an old energy link. So let's see if I get anything else last minute before I move on to pile 2. A lot of cards lately, for when I'm picking cards for the YouTube channel, are talking about creativity. And so I know I'm in a creative phase in my life, and makes me wonder, am I just picking my own cards? But on the other hand, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Like, this creativity is our default state of being anyway. So if you're wanting to create something, or you are feeling like you are stuck from, or some kind of version of something that has to do with you creating something, any combination of these messages are going to apply to you. Maybe not all of them, but something that I said you can extract from it. But the big 2 here that I want to emphasize are, just because you don't know all the answers doesn't mean you can't proceed. And make sure you're living in a present version of reality as opposed to the past in order to do whatever it is that you're doing. This could mean, if you are working on something creative, that you might have to start from scratch, which can be really annoying, and you feel attached to the old version of what you were working on because you put so much time and energy into it. But it gets to a point where it feels like it's dead in the water. Then you're like, I think I'm just going to have to start over, or start something completely new, or new, fresh eyes, or, something. Don't feel like you wasted your time with the old thing. This could be a relationship too. That's kind of what came to my mind when I was saying, I get readings where people are like, am I wasting my time with this person? And I'm like, let's break that down a little bit. Wasting your time with a person implies that you would be doing something different instead of being with this person, or being by yourself, like either being with somebody else or being with somebody else. Do you enjoy your time with this person? Yes, I just don't know if it's going anywhere. I'm like, okay, but you're enjoying it right now, right? You like being with this person. Why do you need to have a label of, we are like boyfriend, girlfriend, or we are engaged, or we are married, in order for it to be you're enjoying your time with them? When they come over and you're hanging out and you cook dinner and you do all these things, if you're enjoying the time you're spending, then how is it wasting your time? they consider it's wasting their time if going forward there's no, like, if I could predict for them that they will never get married, then they don't want to be in the relationship to begin with. They want to end it. If I were to say to you, like, if you were working on something creative and I were to say to you, that's never going to go anywhere, what's the point of doing it? And if you were to go, yeah, you're right, never mind, let me not do this, then you're missing the point of why you do creative things. The point is to do the creative thing, not necessarily for a certain result. It's the process of doing the thing that is the enjoyment of it. So this is a hindsight thing sometimes where you look back. If you're sitting here and creating something and you're like, and hating every second of it, then well, that's the energy of the thing you've created, and why would you even do it anyways? So I think you can dissect from all that what your messages would be from today's pile. But that was your pile today for you guys, pile 1. I hope that was helpful to you, and I wish you luck in your future endeavors of creativity. So thank you and have a great day. See you later. All right, hello pile 2. You guys picked card number 49, which is Observer. And your supplemental card is Antelope Spirit. Life is speeding up. Okay, so the Observer card, we'll start with that one, is talking about taking a step back from being so close to your situation so that you're able to see it from a neutral zone. So that way you're not sitting here and maybe being too attached to whatever it is. You need to see it from a neutral and unbiased perspective. So not sure what area of your life we're talking about. Maybe it's all parts of your life. Maybe it's relationship. Maybe it's career. Who knows what? You'll know which thing it's talking about. The thing that's on your mind most, probably. But taking a step back and making sure that you're not attached to any kind of ideas or opinions associated with whatever it is, and thinking, if I weren't me, how would I think about this situation? Like, it might be helpful to you to actually do that and think, if I were, let's say there's another person involved in your life that has a differing opinion from you. So if I were that person, how would I think? And why might I think that? And if I were that person, how might I think and why? And that person and that person. And because when you have it in combination with life is speeding up, that's because you are like in a period where you have to stop and step back because you're so potentially caught up in your own story at this time and upcoming. Like, if you're not in this energy right now, this could be upcoming. So be prepared for this. When you notice like a whirlwind of the days and weeks and months just passing you by and you're like, wow, like everything is just happening all at once, I can barely keep my head straight, that kind of thing. Making sure that you're in a position of neutrality as opposed to a position of opinion of your, whatever your own personal biases are, because we all have our own personal biases. So this is talking about, it says, instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment that you're engaged with. I'm getting this feeling for your group that you do business with people that are, maybe it's all around the world, and it would be helpful for you to understand different cultures so that you can understand where they're coming from, because you can't just tell them, oh, do this and do that, as if they live, let's say they don't live in the country that you live in where you have certain things available to you just easily. Maybe they live somewhere where, they would have to work extra harder, or, have an extra set of circumstance in order to be able to do the thing that you're suggesting to them, or maybe it's literally impossible with their culture, or how their upbringing, their state of mind. You got to work with their state of mind sometimes, where you got to figure out, for you it's so easy to do this, and for them they just might not be there, so you got to work with them where they're at. Especially this can talk about in relationships, and this might not just be romantic relationships, but relationships you have with everybody, where you have past experiences coming up to haunt you. This is really important in a relationship, especially a romantic one, that let's say in the past something happened in another relationship, or even in this one. You can't assume that this relationship will do the same thing, or that because it happened in the past, if you're sitting here and always like expecting or accusing, or that sort of thing. It's saying step back from a neutral perspective. What if you weren't impacted by that in the past? What if it didn't hurt your inner child? Would you still be reacting in maybe arguments or something the way that you're acting now? Do you throw everything but the kitchen sink in when you have an argument, or do you keep it relevant to what you're actually discussing at the time? But make sure I got everything. Yeah, I already talked about that. So yeah, overall thing is basically, this can imply a relationship that at the very beginning, and you're in that honeymoon phase when everything's great, and things seem like they're being really intense, and they're going by really fast, and everything's great. But keep in mind to not let things go, like you know what I mean? Like, notice the red flags if there are any. Make sure you're having conversations and not just like sweeping things under the rug and being like, I don't want to bring that up because I'm afraid that that'll scare them away, or I don't want to talk about something that might be uncomfortable because, this is basically saying be present and address things as they come up. Don't sweep them away. Don't whirlwind past them. And make sure you're doing things point by point by point, and taking the time to actually enjoy what it is that you are doing, as opposed to just like you wake up and it's 3 months later and you're like, wow, that went fast. Because right now, if you're watching this as in current time, it's like the middle of September. So we have October, November, December. I like to gauge my own personal growth in 3-month increments. So let's say starting October, like 2 weeks from now, I would say I'm going to do a reading for myself and say, where am I at right now with my business, with my everything, each little thing in my life? Where am I at right now? And then where would I like to be at the new year? Because everybody likes to set New Year's resolutions, but I like to set 3-month increment resolutions. That way, by the time I get to January, I can look back at October and say, how far have I come at this point? And then set it for March and go, how far do I want to be starting March? And then. So that way, I'm not just like, because literally 3 months will pass you by and you'll just be like, what happened to the last 3 months of my life? So being really present in your day to day, it's really easy in these current times to be like, I don't even know what day of the week it is, which is fine in general, but just make sure you're not doing anything with your days at all. You're working towards something for your own self growth, and or spiritual growth, and or business, whatever it might be, and not just like setting your sights on always working for somebody else. Perhaps, like, I always love to shift people from working for somebody to working for themselves. I feel like that's the most empowered life you can have. Not everybody is necessarily cut out for it, but usually the people that gravitate toward me are the ones that want to live that life. So if you're watching my channel and you don't already work for yourself, it's likely that if we were to do a life coaching session, that I would be asking you, and then there's some people when I ask that, they're like, no, I'm fine. I like not being in charge. I like being the manager. I like being the employee, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, then that's cool. We don't have to worry about that. But usually then they'll want to focus on their relationship or their health or something else. And so, all right, well, that's it for you guys for pile 2. Hope that was helpful to you. And if you also want to hear what I say in pile 3, then go ahead and stick around and I'll start there in a second. Thanks. All right, pile 3, you guys selected number 31 for your pile today. And on this card, 31 is why. And you see this woman reaching down at a book that has wings on it. And she's got question marks floating around her. And I think I would be that woman if I saw a book with wings on it. I'd be like, I don't know if I'd say why. I'd be like, what the hell? What is this book and what is in it? I must read this. And then you open it and it has like a bunch of symbols and language you don't know how to understand. And you're like, why? So there's the why. But anyways, okay, so tangent aside, you also got chameleon spirit, act as if. Okay, so chameleons blend in, right? Chameleons, if you're a chameleon, you don't stand out. You don't like do anything that people would be able to remember you. You're just like a normal person who does normal things. And if you were in a room of 50 people and people were asked to describe all the people that they remember, you're not going to be one of them. In this reading, it's actually saying that's a good thing, as in there's something in your life that you're being advised to by spirit to blend in with and to get along with, fit in, do that sort of thing. Now, if I were to pick this pile, like if this would be mine, I'd be like, ugh, like I don't like that feeling at all of just, I don't know, blending in with everybody else. But there's certain times when you kind of need to, and you need to like lay low, take a low profile, fit in for the sake of not being like drawing attention to yourself in a negative way or whatever. You might be able to know what I mean. For example, if you're like a really weird person and then you need a job, so you got to kind of like tone it down a little bit and basically act like you're a normal member of society and not somebody who's like super weird. That could be one example. So however this applies to you. Now, the second card with why, if I remember correctly, the book version of why is asking you your motivation behind why you do the things that you do. So these together are like, if you need to do something to fit in, is that maybe exactly really what you want to be doing? Ask yourself, why do you want that job? Or why do you want to fit in? Why do you need to? Why can't you be yourself? Why can't you stand out? If you get where I'm going, it would take a personal reading for me to know exactly what it's talking about. And this would be a good time where you'd give me feedback and you would say, right, well, the circumstance is this. And then I could say, okay, so that's how it fits in your case. But then somebody else has a different thing. So I'm looking at the card in person and I see, I don't know if you can tell, but you see this face kind of in the clouds here? Now, one thing that the book doesn't do is talk about the actual card itself and all the little symbols. So there's this face in the sky with its eyes closed. And to me, this face in the sky is meditating. But it's not meditating like trying to empty its mind of its thoughts. It's like it's focusing on something. And it's connected to the scene of what's going on in the forefront here. So I think it's like, this is the guiding force of the woman, and it's like guiding her to the book. She got here. She's here now. Now she's going to open the book, and she's going to be able to find some answers to her whys. That's kind of what I'm feeling like, is this woman's about to get some answers. So up until now, there were a lot of questions that she had to Spirit, like, why is it like this? Why is it like that? I don't understand. What are you doing? Why are you leading me this way? And that sort of thing. And perhaps maybe all along she has fit in and she's done everything this certain sort of way. But maybe now it's saying it's time to stop being the chameleon and it's time to start being who you are at this time of your life. And it says act as if. So let's say this woman so far has, been in a situation in her life where she wasn't necessarily happy. Maybe she was in a relationship that she didn't feel fulfilled in. Maybe she was working a job that she didn't really love. And she finds this book, and this book tells her, act as if you are that which you are wanting to be. And the why is, why have you chosen your choices up till now? Nobody has made you do this job or be in this relationship. You chose it. It's the Eight of Swords. It's my card for the day. So the Eight of Swords, somebody who thinks they're stuck, but the answer is always you're not actually stuck. You're able to get out of your situation. You're able to walk away. This is always a really empowering card to get when somebody does feel stuck in something in their life, in something negative. So why did you choose what you chose to get where you're at right now? And now where is it that you want to be? Act as if you're already in that energy in order to be able to step into it fully, as opposed to just choosing over and over again the things that you're still choosing to keep you in place where you're at right now. This woman is continually choosing to stay where she's standing. She's got one foot a little bit further ahead, like she's thinking about it. She's like testing the water, little baby steps. Maybe I can take a step out. Maybe I can take another step out, until I either run into something or something alerts me that I got to stop where I'm at. But she can take little steps until she feels safer to proceed, until she gets unwound from the bindings, until she can unblindfold herself, she being the damsel in distress is no longer the message. The message is now, what is it that you really do want to be? What do you really feel aligned with? Where do you want to go? And then proceeding from there and just making aligned choices. Every time something presents to you, make a choice to say, okay, this is keeping me in this situation, or this is getting me one step closer to being out of this situation. This is talking about having honest conversations. This is talking about thinking and reflecting. Why did I say that thing? Why did I do that thing? If you're making choices like that are snap responses instead of being really present in the moment, like this guy, he's like, he doesn't speak quickly. He thinks and then he responds. He doesn't react, he responds. So that's what he's helping this woman to find. Maybe she's very reactive. And so he's teaching her, slow it down, think a little bit, do some introspection, go forward with those kind of new ways of being. All right. So that's it for you guys, Pile 3. Hope that was helpful to you today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you another time. Thanks.